tired? Aren't y'all tired of the gender wars? I know I am. And now we're here with Gabrielle Union, who is talking about, splitting the bills. Like, I don't think how much money Dwayne Wade has even matters to her. What matters to her is how much money she has. I don't believe Dwayne Wade is forcing Gabrielle Union to split the bills 50-50. She feels the need to contribute financially. And you could argue that a lot of that comes from financial insecurity. If I had to choose between splitting the bills and my partner having enough money left over to spoil me, to take me out, versus requiring that my man takes care of all the bills, but now he has like no money left over to where we can't go on dates, we can't go on any vacations, we can't do anything fun together because he's taking care of everything financially. I would rather split the bills. Hey everyone, it's Brie. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back in another video, and we are here once again. Aren't y'all tired? Aren't y'all tired of the gender wars? I know I am. I'm tired of all of these back and forths about relationships and dating, and it just seems like every other day we are just in shambles over something that someone said in regards to their relationship. Literally just, what was it, last week we were talking about, Ebony K. Williams not wanting to date a bus driver, and that sparked a whole debate. And now we're here with Gabrielle Union, who is talking about, splitting the bills, right? And so that has now been the main hot topic on every social media platform, right? And so I think there are, two ways you can view this, right? Because you can view this from the specific perspective of Gabrielle Union based off of what she's went through and how, that might affect her current decision to split the bills. You could also look at this from a generalized perspective. And so I'm going to do my best to look at it from both of those perspectives, right? And so when you view it through the lens of Gabrielle Union specifically, right? I don't know much about her. I believe that she has written a book before about her life. I have not read the book. I have not read any reviews of this book. And so I don't know too much about her. However, I have been paying attention to some of the things that people have said in regards to either past interviews that she's done where she's talked about some of these things or in her book. And so people have brought up the fact that, when it comes to Gabrielle Union, in her past, she has always had this strained relationship with money, right? Or as she said, if a movie gets canceled, she gets really, really concerned about her finances, even though I'm sure, and we don't know, this is all speculation, but I'm sure she has a lot of money saved up. I'm sure that she is really smart with her money. And also she's married to Dwayne Wade. And so she really isn't in a position to where she really needs to stress out about it. And I think that's the part that a lot of people have overlooked in this conversation is, again, like how her past has affected how she views money. I don't think it matters. I don't think how much money Dwayne Wade has even matters to her. What matters to her is how much money she has. And I think that she probably has a hard time, not so much relying on someone else for financial stability, but being able to kind of take a back seat and letting them lead financially. I don't think she's even comfortable with that. And I think a lot of that has to do with, her upbringing and her financial situation that she had, in her early years. And then people also brought up her last marriage, I believe. I can't remember if this was like an old or a past husband or just a boyfriend that she had. I want to say it was a past husband. I'm not 100% sure. But the person that she was with before Dwayne Wade, she had spoke about how she cheated on him. And her reason for cheating on him was that she had more money than him. And she felt like at that time, not to say that she feels like that now, but at that time she felt like the person that made more money, they have, I guess, the right to cheat because they they pretty much run the household with their finances. And I remember this sparked up a lot of debate when she first said it, because also there's an argument to be made that a lot of men think like that as well. I think that, she caught flack for it. Not only because it's wrong. Like, I'm not saying that's not like a wrong way of thinking, because it is. But I think she got way more pushback about it because she was a woman saying it. Because if we're honest, regardless of whether or not men flat out say it or not, there's a lot of men out there who feel the same way. They feel like, okay, I'm running the household, I'm paying all the bills, and they have this sort of like, ego about it, to where they feel like they can go out and do whatever because they know that the woman isn't going to go anywhere, or they just feel like they have that type of authority because of how much money they make. And so there's a lot of factors, to why she views money the way that she does. I think the key factor here that, again, people are missing from this whole thing is that, at least from what I've gathered, I don't believe Dwayne Wade is forcing Gabrielle Union to split the bills 50-50. I don't think that that's something that he requires of her. I don't think that's something that he puts on her. And again, we don't know these people. I could be wrong. Everybody on the internet could be wrong. And a lot of the times they are wrong because we don't know these people. But just from what we've seen, from this interview clip that had went viral and just everything, I get a sense that the decision to split the bills 50-50, it might have been a joint decision, but I definitely don't think it was Dwayne Wade saying, hey, you must pay 50%. I think in order for Gabrielle to also feel comfortable and to feel like she has an equal amount of power in the relationship, she feels the need to contribute financially. And you could argue that a lot of that comes from financial insecurity. And so, I just think it's interesting because, again, it's like a lot of people were upset about this, right? Obviously, because Dwayne Wade is worth a lot of money. And normally I would just say that, you should do what's best for you and your household. And I still feel that way. I think that regardless of, again, all these gender wars and all these arguments, at the end of the day, you just have to figure out what works best for you and your relationship and do that. Because everyone is not going to agree with the dynamic of your relationship, and you just have to figure out what works for you. And with that being said, if I were Gabrielle Union, if I was married to, someone like Dwayne Wade, or someone that had the amount of money that Dwayne Wade has, I personally, more than likely, would not split the bills. And that kind of goes into, the kind of overall general view of this, right? Of whether or not you should split the bills. Again, there's no right or wrong answer. I think it just depends on what you want. And I think that, regardless of what you want, I don't think there's like a wrong way to go about it. If you're someone that's okay with splitting the bills, split the bills. If you're someone that requires that your partner pays for all the bills, then do that. Again, it's hard sometimes to get through all of the mess on social media, but there are men out there who are willing to pay all the bills. And so for the women that want that, I don't think they should lower their standards or rethink it. Like, no, like, if that is what they want, that's what they desire, then they have every right to want that. And they just need to find the men that are willing to pay for all the bills. There's someone for everybody, And so I don't think there's one wrong way to go about it. Now, for me, when it comes to this whole thing of splitting the bills or whatever, because I feel like I have a long ways before I'm even in that position to split bills with someone. I need to find somebody first. And then once that happens, then, financial stuff eventually comes up. And so I have a minute before I even have to think about that too hard. But just from a surface level perspective, right? I think for me, holistically, I don't mind the idea of splitting the bills with my partner. And I also just think it depends on the situation. I think it depends on the finances, right? For instance, if me and my significant other are making around the same amount of money, I don't see anything wrong with splitting the bills. So like, let's say like, I'm making $50,000 a year and they're making $50,000 a year. I don't see why we can't split some of the bills. But if I'm, making a certain amount of money and they're making 3 or 4 times more than me, that conversation might be a little bit different. Just because I feel like when you're thinking about like percentage wise, how are you splitting the bills? And I think maybe that's the part too that I kind of disagree with Gabrielle Union on, is splitting it 50-50, because the financials are nowhere close to each other. Like, Dwayne Wade makes like 3 or 4 more times than she does. So to me, 50-50 doesn't make sense, because you're taking a big chunk of her money. Meanwhile, for him, it's like pennies to him to split the bills 50-50. And so I think in regards to that, like if I'm splitting the bills with someone that makes a significant more amount of money than me, I think that it would be more fair for them to pay for more of the bills. And vice versa. If I am making, 5 times more than my significant other, I think that it just would make more sense for me to pay more of the bills. That's just how I look at it. And I know a lot of women have talked about, being in relationships with men where they make more money. And because of that, they have been known to spend more money in the relationship than their partner, which I think makes sense. And I've talked about this as well, that in my previous relationship, I had more money and made more money than my partner. So by default, I spent, more money when it comes to, gifts or dates or whatever the case may be. Most of the time with dates, it would just be like a split thing, or, as I said before, like, they pay for the food, I pay for gas, but I would always contribute because I knew that I had it to contribute and they didn't really. And so it just made more sense for me to, contribute financially. I think that people should really just, look at their financial situation, look at your financial situation, look at your partner's financial situation, and, come to, in my opinion, come to a decision that just would make sense financially, as opposed to just trying to stick hardcore to your values. Because the way I look at it, right? If I had to choose between splitting the bills and my partner having enough money left over to spoil me, to take me out, versus requiring that my man takes care of all the bills, but now he has like no money left over to where we can't go on dates, we can't go on any vacations, we can't do anything fun together because he's taking care of everything financially. I would rather split the bills. I would rather split the bills, be able to still go out, have fun, spoil each other. Because again, when you split the bills, that means that both people would have more money left over to do other things, treat themselves, treat their partner. Like, they'll still have money left over to do that. If you're requiring one person who isn't making that much money, that's kind of like the context I'm looking at it as. If you have someone that isn't making that much money, but you're still making them pay for all the bills, they're not going to have a ton of money left over to buy you nice things, to take you out. And so you really just have to look at what your priorities are and what you want your lifestyle to look like. For me, I want to have fun. I want to have fun with my partner. And so I want to make sure that we both have enough money to where we can do that. And also, the economy is garbage right now. I don't know why splitting the bills is even a foreign concept in today's economy. Like, to me, it just would make more sense with where the economy is right now to split some of the bills, because it's really hard out here. A lot of people are having to have both people actively working and making as much money as possible to sustain their lifestyle. That's kind of just where we are right now. But like I said, there's nothing wrong with wanting a more traditional approach and having your partner do that. But also keep in mind the type of lifestyle you want. Keep in mind, a lot of those other things. Because again, if you want a man who is paying for all the bills but also has enough money to fund vacations, dates, whatever the case may be, then you might also have to look at how much money they're making. And that's a whole other conversation. That's a whole nother conversation about, having financial requirements for dating as well. But yeah, all in all, I don't think, again, we don't know, but I don't think Dwayne Wade is forcing it onto her. I think Gabrielle Union just feels comfortable kind of taking charge of the finances to some degree. I think that it makes her feel better, and it makes her feel as though she is not solely reliant on another person if she is also contributing. The 50-50 thing, though, is where I'm like, I might do like a 70-30. again, giving how much money she makes and how much money he makes, I would do maybe 70-30, 80-20, right? Just put my foot in the water. But I understand too, like, why people had a strong opinion about this. I think people just want to make sure that she isn't being taken advantage of, because I know a lot of people were like, oh, like, he cheated on her, he did X, Y, and Z, he's making her split the bills. I don't think he's making her split the bills. Again, I could be wrong. And if he is making her split the bills, I do think that's kind of messed up, given how much money he makes. To me, that just wouldn't make sense to make her, because you have to also keep in mind, again, their lifestyle, how many kids they have, how many cars, houses, whatever. I don't know, like, none of us know how much money they spend on a month-to-month basis, but even just that alone, like, if he requires certain things or she requires certain things, like, I think it just would make more sense that he would spend more because he makes more, right? All in all, regardless of what our opinions are, they're doing what works for them at the end of the day. Like, this works for them, they're happy with it, and so our opinions don't really matter, because as long as their system is working for them, then that's really all that matters. But of course, we have opinions about it, and I think everyone's entitled to their opinion, and so I've shared my opinion, and I want to hear your guys' opinion. So let me know in the comments down below how you guys feel about this whole situation with them splitting the bills 50-50. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.